Hello, my name's Roselin, and this is my interview video. For this assignment, I decided to pick my cousin, and for this interview, we're gonna refer her to Olivia, only because she did say that she had some discreet information here that she had some information in here that she wanted to keep discreet, so I'm going to respect that, of course. But the reason why I chose her is because we both grew up in New York together, but we didn't necessarily have a strong bond when we did live together. Our families did butt heads at some point, which did affect our relationship. It wasn't until we both moved here that our relationship started getting stronger, but mainly like a few years living here, we both started college, and that was when we actually started growing our relationship, thankfully. We had this interview over dinner at our favorite Mexican restaurant, and I will say that we definitely enjoyed this. It was something that we very much needed. We learned a lot about each other. But some of the questions I asked her were basically the questions that were given as the use these but not limited to. So one of them I asked was, what makes you or made you who you are? And Olivia's response to this was basically just, she's had both positive and negative relationships that have made her that have shaped her into who she is now. She did make it very clear that even her negative friendships, or like her friendships that did fall out at some point, did make her into who she is. And it's always those friendships that teach you the most, because it tells you a lot about yourself and like what you want and what you don't want in your life, and like in that little circle of yours. I asked her also a question about like what significant events took place in her life that really shaped her development, and she shared that she went through a very painful breakup a few years back, and I was actually there for her when this happened. It was very emotional for her to bring this up, only because this time in her life, like, she was not, how can I say it? She wasn't mentally or physically okay. She completely lost herself like through it all before she was able to like become better than ever. But yeah, it did hurt me hear her say this story again, but it's just inspiring to me because she went through something so hard and like emotionally taxing, and she didn't completely lose herself to like the point where things just got super bad. She came out of that tunnel and she came back better than ever, thankfully, and I still admire her so much, more than ever. I love her so much. But yeah, so throughout this interview, I would say that all of her answers really relate to, I'm gonna search this, well, no, that's right here, to Bandura's social learning theory. So Bandura explains that people develop by observing and learning from those around them. Olivia talked a lot about how relationships and people in her life have influenced her values, decisions, and personal growth. She intentionally surrounds herself with good people that will bring positive impact into her life, only because she knows and she's learned from past experiences that those people that don't bring good in her life really just take a toll on you and don't bring you any good. They, in some cases, can bring you into their addictions, their bad habits, and I think that's very important that you surround yourself with good people. I also noticed that in my own life, only because I recently did have a recent friendship fallout, because I just realized at some point that I didn't feel like I felt like I was having to fake who I was, only because the stuff that person did wasn't in my kind of zone, I guess you could say. It wasn't my kind of stuff. So I guess that was really like why, but you're allowed to do that. Like, you're allowed to build your circle. But yeah, so many of these questions were just us talking about how our families were, things that we don't want to do or fall in the same footsteps of, for example, our families. But I'm not going to get too deep into that, only because it was very personal. But yeah, so overall, this interview, I guess, really taught me a lot about my cousin, and it taught me a lot about why she is the way she is now and why things happened when we were younger, and just how those people around you really do affect your development. And it doesn't necessarily have to be with your childhood friendships, you know, it can be with friendships you have now, friendships that you may make later can teach you to grow and just teach you things about yourself too. But yeah, I really do think that Bandora's social learning theory best explains Olivia's development, because so much of her growth came from observing others and learning from their examples and intentionally choosing those kind of people that do bring impact to her, positive impact into her life. So yeah, I think that's it for my interview video, and thank you for listening.